Before we got here, we heard all kinds of horror stories on Facebook and everywhere else about getting your visas and finding places to live.
Getting settled in general.
All these horror stories. And since we've been here, I almost want to say it's been boring because it's been so well. It's been kind of,
there hasn't been a, oh my God moment. People ask us, we've had several questions like, oh, when did it seem real to you when we actually started looking at it?
So I think we need to explain why.
Okay.
Why we think that is.
Yeah.
So let's start with visas.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Maurice is here on a digital nomad visa, DNV. But so it is a little different than the other visa. The primary other visa is the NLV, which is non-lucrative, mainly for retired.
There are other visas as well, but those are the two primary.
Two biggies. Yeah. But what we're going to talk about is going to be, I think, vague enough that really will apply to everybody.
To a degree, yeah.
In our research, like a lot of our research, we used AI, ChatGPT.
To start off with.
Okay, so we used those, and we found out we got a lot of misinformation from there. As we said before, it's a great tool, but don't trust it. So we got a lot of misinformation. It did direct us to some of the information at the consulate. But we learned that the consulate information is complicated, not always up to date.
The major complication with the Spanish consulate is each consulate throughout at least the U.S. I have no idea what it is like in any other country, but in the U.S., each consulate can set some of their own rules. There's some basics, but they can set other restrictions or they may ask for extra paperwork that you wouldn't normally be asked for, and that's for either the digital nomad or the NLV.
And they not only can they ask, they operate independently. I mean, and you don't get to choose what consulate you are. So depending on where you live in the country, you're assigned a consulate.
Yeah. So for us, we were living in Apple Valley, California, and so our local consulate was Los Angeles. That was the closest one to us.
And you'll hear that consulate in this city is a nightmare to deal with, and the one over here is easy to deal with. Now, I will say they are changing the laws. They are trying to, the Spanish government this year is trying to centralize everything to avoid all this
misinformation and extra stuff.
Changing rules. It's not there yet, and as with any bureaucracy, I don't expect it'll change overnight.
Probably not.
Okay, but we forgot our little caveat here. We are talking about our experience.
And this is our experience in our area, period. Yes. So one thing we did learn is it was better to go ahead and apply for the digital nomad visa once we actually flew into Spain. So that's what we did. But
you can't apply for it before you get here. And in fact, I think the NLV, you have to do it.
The NLV, you have to do before you leave.
But again, that is today. But the DNV, you have the choice. And we learned it was much better to do it here.
Yeah, so we did. So we arrived, we contacted our relocation specialist and hit the ground running for moving forward with it. Yeah. And I think as Americans, we like to try and do things on our own. Yeah. And you can dig for the information, but with the relocation specialist, we were told, do this, this, this. Yeah. Here are the forms, and right now we have our visas, we're all set, but there is still some paperwork there's some red tape that needs to be handled. The attorney through the office is handling all our appointments, we just have to show up and boom, we're there. Yeah. But the important part is the changes. Yeah, but I'm getting there. Okay. Yes. So, and this is more important than, this is why it's not just a matter of being complicated trying to figure out what to do. So, and I spoke about the fact that I actually was looking at doing a W-2 employee. We had been recommended by our relocation specialist to change that to a 1099 employee, or here in Spain it's considered autonomo. It's a contract. So it's a contracted employee basically. And so that's what I did. And it made it a little easier and it was good because right before we left, the laws changed. And the time we decided to move to the time we got here, the law changed 3 times. So I don't care what your research was, we probably would be still sitting in the States right now had we not
gone to a relocation specialist. And
Yeah.
just a little caveat, we just learned yesterday the laws changed again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it changed both in good and bad ways, depending on what you're going for. So
Yes.
you want to definitely do your own research. Don't rely on everybody. Do your own research, definitely research it all. But when you actually make that decision to move, wherever it is that you're planning on moving, contact somebody who is a professional that will help you navigate the laws and culture and bureaucracy in that location you're moving to, whether that be Spain, whether that be Japan, whether that be, no matter where it is, get somebody that actually knows what they're doing in that area and specializes in it.
So in a nutshell, it's expensive. It can be expensive to get a relocation specialist, but if you don't get one, it can be a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah.
Or you may just be sitting wherever you are and
Yeah.
wishing you could be here.
We should tag one more thing in that,
Okay.
because we didn't talk about it. Talking to the relocation specialist, they will guide you through the visa process. They will also guide you through insurances as well. That is very important as well. Mostly health insurance, because that is a requirement in Spain.
Yeah, let me qualify
Go
that.
ahead.
Yes, Spain does have universal health care. When you come here on a visa, and for the NLV, the non-lucrative visa, I think you have to wait a year. And don't quote me on this because we're not specialists.
Yeah.
But I think you have to wait a year.
You have to wait some period of time before you can actually be on it. Yeah.
The visa we are on is kind of fluid, but it's just better to just do it anyway.
Yeah.
So don't think you can just come here and you're covered if you have an emergency, but beyond that, no.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So you definitely want to go ahead and talk to a specialist, because they will guide you through all of those different aspects, because that is part of the whole legal process, because it is a requirement that you have health care of some sort.
Exactly.
So, and most of the time it is private insurance when you first get here. So, yeah.
Housing.
Ooh, okay.
Those of you in Spain, we don't have to tell you there is a housing crisis here.
Yeah. Especially in the larger cities, the more popular cities. Yes.
Yeah, in the big cities, Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia is starting to get there.
Yeah.
It's a severe housing crisis. The cost of housing is going sky high.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on the reasons why. We haven't had that big of a problem here in Oliva, but it is getting to be a problem.
It's getting more expensive here,
The
yes.
costs are going up here. So we hear a lot of horror stories, people trying to find places
Oh, yeah.
to live, and they come here and they're homeless practically.
Yeah, there's people who've come and just, they have nothing. They came sight unseen with nothing to deal with, and they didn't plan out and contact anybody to try and get stuff.
So what's the number one way people seem to look for a place before they get here?
Airbnb.
No, Idealista.
Ah, yes.
Idealista
Okay.
and Airbnb. Idealista, if you're not familiar, is a real estate, online real estate organization that lists
I'm trying to remember what
places
it's
for
called.
buying.
Zillow. It's similar to Zillow in the U.S.,
Yes.
but here.
And it's more commonly used, I think,
Yeah.
than Zillow.
Yeah.
And it lists houses for sale and houses for rent.
Yeah.
And people spend hours and hours on Zillow. We are on Idealista.
Idealista.
And we did too, though we never tried to rent. We were trying to just get an idea of what we're going to be able
We
to
were looking
afford.
at for the costs.
More of the
mostly.
cost and like what kind of house are we, what are we looking for
Yeah.
as far as what the house is
Housing,
gonna look like.
apartment, yeah.
But a lot of people find that they spend hours and hours and hours and then keep contacting real estate agents and it's gone or
Yeah.
there's some special considerations. That was our plan, that we were going to have to do that.
We were thinking it, yeah.
And here's where being online helps, because we made friends before we ever got here.
Before we get there, one of the major things is we also know that Airbnb is a major issue in Spain right now, and there's a lot of pushback against Airbnbs. We did not want to bother with Airbnb at all.
Yes, and that actually is
That was one of the major keys. Now go ahead and go into the
and I
other.
want to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
So anybody curious as to what's going on with Airbnb, this is actually happening worldwide, not just Spain. Back in the day, Airbnb was, I have an extra room, I'm going to rent it out. Or
I'm going on vacation.
We're going on vacation, we'll rent our house out.
Yeah.
That's no longer true. Corporations are buying apartment buildings
Yeah.
and renting them out as Airbnbs,
Yeah.
which means there's a housing shortage, which has jacked everybody's prices way up.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Spain, fortunately, is cracking down on Airbnb as much as they possibly can without outlawing it. Other countries are doing the same. So if you can avoid it, please do.
Yeah.
So that led to us where we got this beautiful place that we're in right now.
We actually during our research, part of our research was AI, which we've openly been talking about. Part of our research was also talking to people who live in the area we were interested in, which happens to be Oliva.
Which is how we got a place to rent temporarily.
Well, we actually started talking to people and we got to know people, and that's how we actually got the rental.
Yeah.
So we actually made friends online before we ever got here. And
we were like, where's a good place to stay temporarily?
Yeah.
And so we found a great guest house to stay at. And
through them, we actually said, we don't want to do Airbnbs. Do you, by any chance, have long-term rentals? And they said, well, hold on. What are you looking for? And then the next day, we got a call from
our current landlord. We described exactly what we wanted, and the person said, let me get back to you. I know somebody that might be able to help you.
Yeah.
Next day, our current landlord contacted us, described the place, and we're like, yeah.
So this is one of those things where starting around August, everything just started rolling very, very quickly for us. And it was not a bad thing, it was just fast. It was all good stuff that was rolling in toward us, and just, so this included was that time frame in August where it was just like boom, 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 it was coming in. And so finding this place, we got very, very lucky. It was just kismet, I guess, is the best way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we need to stress, we weren't just in the expat groups, and I don't think either of us like the term expat, but unfortunately that is what they are called. They're called expat groups.
We consider ourselves immigrants because we are moving here and trying to immerse ourselves, but we'll go into that more
That's a whole different story, but it bothers, but they are, whether we like it or not, they are called expat groups.
Yeah.
And a lot of videos are called expat videos. So we didn't just join like American in Spain or expats in Spain groups. We looked for some that are very specific to our area.
Yeah.
Remember, our town is it's actually less than 30,000 people.
Yeah.
So if you're moving to a larger city, I can assure you, in fact, I know Valencia has several of them, Madrid has several of them.
Yeah. There's a lot of groups.
And that's where we are here, and we are friends with people that we made friends with when we were sitting in the United States.
Yeah.
So that is really important, that we just went in every day and asked questions or looked at the questions and
we also did, because of the fact we asked the questions in the groups that were expat, but we also got into the groups that are local to this area just to see what was happening in the area. And some of those we didn't understand exactly what was going on, but we asked questions in that particular post, or we went back to the expat or English speaking groups and said, hey, what is this all about? And so we asked questions about the things that were going on, so we had a better idea of what we were getting into.
I don't need to go into utilities too much. We can't speak to that because
we can't speak to a lot of the utilities. Utilities includes things like water, electricity, internet services. That's part of our rental agreement, so we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But when we actually do, we will come back and let you know what's going on with all that for us.
But we can talk about telephone, because that has been asked 1,000 times in these different groups. Telephones and banking.
I'll go into the cell phone if you don't mind.
Okay, yes.
So here, internet and cell phone can actually be tied to each other directly.
At outrageous fees.
No, actually, most of them have that capability where they are one and the same. So you have your internet service; it's tied to your cell phone service. It's by the same company. We went with Tello. It was a simple Tello, being clear. It was a simple way for us to do this. I did a bunch of research, trying to figure out what would be the best option for us before we left, because we did feel like we needed to do that change prior to leaving. And we wanted something that would function primarily for SMS messaging outside of the US. So we went with Tello because we can do it off of Wi-Fi and not have to worry about it. And that was primarily for some of the responsibilities for banking and two-factor authentication. It also cut our bill from 200 and cut it in a quarter.
So cut it 75%.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a quarter, we're paying a quarter of what we used to pay.
we're paying a quarter of what we used to pay. It's insane how much lower cost it is. But granted, there's a lot of other premium services and stuff that you get with some of the big monsters. I'm not going to name the names. But with Tello, all we needed was this SMS service. Really, we have a little bit of phone calling, but not much.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go in just a little bit more of what Tello and SMS is. We have Spanish phone numbers, and we would like to it'd be easy to say, well, we don't want to have American phone numbers. Yeah. Unfortunately, like, we still have banks in the United States, as most people will continue to do so. Yeah. And to do two-factor authentication and things like that. They will not, like our bank and many other banks, does allow us to move outside the country. You can't start an account at a U.S. bank when you leave the country. But we had one before we left, and we were able to keep it. But they will not call a foreign number to do two-factor authentication, that sort of thing. Yeah. So you have to have some kind of at least SMS texting.
And I will say, I don't know how Google does it. I'm wanting to put this out there because there's a lot of people who say, oh, Google Voice. I have a Google Voice. I don't rely on Google Voice. I know you can text through it. I know there's several people who have had it, but I've also heard a lot of people who've lost their Google Voice once they moved out of the country. I didn't want to chance it. We had too much riding on what we were dealing with, so I didn't want to take that chance. So we just switched our service to something that would actually work outside of the U.S. Yeah,
we plan to cancel our Google Voice anyway, but just in a nutshell, and this is not from our personal experience, it's only what we've heard, is it's in the contract with Google Voice that you will not leave the country. Some people have done it anyway, and they've gone years with no problem. Others have gotten here in a very short time. They got disconnected. So if you want to chance it, I wouldn't. We went with Tello because it's specifically set up.
It's specifically designed for that. So we did that. And then as far as the cost for cell service here, we actually, and we'll get into the banking portion of this and why we went with prepaid. So we went with prepaid package for one of the cell services here. And we did that because you have to have a Spanish IBAN, a Spanish bank account, to actually get a contracted cell service here. Knew that we didn't have the banking in order. We'll get into that in a few minutes. So we went with the basic cell service here, and it's psychotically expensive. It's like 25 euros per line for the two of us for unlimited calls within the country and throughout Europe. So throughout the EU. No, it includes some minutes through the US, but not unlimited. But it's unlimited text and calling throughout Spain and the EU for 25 euro a month. And then we also have I think it's like 100 gigabytes of data. So it's kind of crazy how much data you also get as well. But again, very limited, very little money comparatively to what we were doing in the US. So
as far as banking goes, the reason why we couldn't do a contract with the cell phone service is they want you to have a Spanish IBAN. Now, we use a app called Wise, which is very common here. It's a great service. We can use it to purchase most anything. We can use it for cash withdrawals, etc. Though the ATM prices can be pricey. Wise doesn't charge it, but the local banks do. But when it comes to contracts or setting up, paying your taxes here, or setting up contracts like the phone and probably your utilities, they want you to actually have a Spanish IBAN. We have a Belgian IBAN, I think it is, which is good throughout the EU. So we couldn't sign up for a phone service on a contract, which is why we went month to month. There is the option as a non-resident, you can get a bank account. We chose not to do it because there are some hoops you jump through. It doesn't have as many benefits. And by law, once you do get your visa, you have to cancel that account and get a resident account.
So, to avoid all of the complications, since we were applying for a visa anyway, why bother going through the complication? We can do a prepaid for a few months while we're applying for the visa, going through the visa process. So that's what we did. We just went ahead and decided not to do a IBAN, a Spanish bank. We've been fine doing what we've been doing through Wise and converting the money over at that point in time. So
now that we have our actual visas, the numbers for our visas, we are going to go to the bank. We're planning this week to finally open our account. A little bit about Wise. Now, there are other apps out there. We can't speak to those. We chose to go with Wise through a little bit of research that we did. And in a nutshell, with us, our checks are deposited in a United States bank. We then transfer that money to Wise, and Wise is used throughout the EU. What's it called when you transfer money over? And it's the exchange rate is very good, and the fee is less than.
And actually, Wise is not just used throughout the EU; it's worldwide.
It's worldwide. The exchange rate is excellent, and the cost per transaction is a whopping. It's going up now to €1.95. So you can't beat that, and it's €1.95. Whether we choose to get 300, 500, whatever. So don't get freaked out that you can't get a bank account immediately. You can use your Wise card or whatever you use. Some people get here and they only use Wise forever. I don't know if it's because they don't have to set up contracts. I can't speak to that. We found that it wasn't enough.
It was what we chose to do for that. We'll probably hang on to it for the time being.
Well, their exchange rate is better than the banks offer. So we will keep it to do the exchange, and then we'll transfer the euros from Wise to our bank, which won't cost us extra or minimal. So that is the banking situation. So it's not the big nightmare. We didn't experience the big nightmare that we've heard about time and time again.
So
language.
Okay, let me start this one. Okay. So I was born in Spain. I had 3 years of Spanish in high school. And my teacher, of all things, refused to do, this is Spanish in the US. My teacher refused to do Latin American Spanish. He did Castilian Spanish. However, that is not a preparation for moving back to Spain for me. It's not the same thing.
Well, but I think we need to cover our butts here. We did a video recently, and man, we got a lot of flack because people thought we were telling people they don't have to learn Spanish.
No.
Nothing could be further from the truth. If you're moving here and you don't want to learn Spanish, first of all, it's rude.
Well, first of all,
it's disrespectful.
You're moving to another country, period, Spain or any other country, and you're expecting them to just bow down to you to do whatever languages you're coming from? No.
If you're coming here and plan to immerse yourself in the society, which again, we don't understand why you wouldn't want to. That's the reason we came. But, so you need to learn Spanish. But, here's the big but. However, it doesn't matter how much Spanish you try to learn before you get here. If you're not using it regularly, you're not going to remember everything. And you sure as hell aren't going to get used to what?
Oh, God. Okay. If you're familiar with Latin American Spanish, and I'm sorry if you don't like the terminology for Latin American.
South American, whatever you want to call it.
That's what most people speak to. The pace is very fast for Latin American speaking. It is nothing compared to Spanish speaking.
No,
it is super fast here, and it is very difficult. So trying to get people to slow down, and it's one of those things he's actually found. He'll tell you a story in a few minutes, but you ask somebody, okay, whoa. I don't speak Spanish fluently. Please slow down. I've gotten attuned now where I can hear them actually slowing down for them, but not enough for us to actually catch up and actually understand it completely. So they have to slow down even more to try and actually speak to us sometimes. It's comical, it's frustrating for them, and I can clearly see it's frustrating at times. But if we let them know up front and tell them, hey, we're trying to learn, we're trying to understand. We ask, how do you say such and such? How do you say this? How do you say that? They're much easier at doing it, and they take a breath. Yes, here's how you say these things. But
yeah, and what I found it's helpful is not just to say no hablo español or habla español muy poco.
Yeah.
I always add on there, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
So that they know I'm not just saying you should speak English.
Yeah.
And we are learning.
Yeah.
And we ask, people are patient with us. They laugh when they see us trying in a nice way.
Yeah.
And we ask all the time, how do you say this?
Yeah.
And so that makes a big difference. If you're trying, it makes a big difference. But the two examples I'm going to give.
Well, hang on. You get a much better reaction by saying, I'm sorry, I don't speak the language, but I'm trying.
Yes.
That alone puts people like, oh.
Because there are a lot of people that come here and never want to learn and are frustrated that not everybody speaks English.
Yeah.
Last night or the night before, I watched a movie because I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it in Spanish, which I've done a few times here, more than a few. I'm going to watch it in Spanish, and then I'm going to have the captions below.
Yeah.
And so I can pick out the words that I know. I was watching the words on the captions I knew really well, but I was not hearing the words because it was so damn fast. So, yeah, there's going to be the speed issue, and I can't tell a movie to slow down, unfortunately.
No.
The example...
We've got two of them.
Well, there's a few.
Ahead.
Well, even the tarjeta at the store. So I feel like there's certain things I can say pretty well. I certainly know how to ask where something is. That's one of the first things you learn is how to find the bathroom and that sort of thing. So we were at the supermercado, and I can't find the rice, which you would think would be easy to find, but I couldn't find the rice. So I went up to one of the clerks that was stocking there, and I said, "Donde está el arroz?" And she just looked at me and cocked her head. And I think she said, huh? And
she said, K.
Yeah. And I said, arroz. No. And I then typed in on my phone and held it up to her, arroz. And she goes, arroz. And I swear to God, she said the same damn word I said. But I don't have an accent, and I'm not going to develop an accent until I get here.
You do have an accent.
That is true. I apologize. I apologize. I have an American accent, probably most of the time Midwestern, sometimes Southern. I don't have a Spanish accent.
Thank you.
Thank you for correcting me. That was my big mistake. So she didn't even understand me. And I guarantee you, I know I said the words correctly. And the same situation, in supermarkets that have the regular customer card.
They have a client card. Client card, yes.
I know what that, I use it all the time.
In the US, it's called a rewards card.
Rewards card, yes. I had the woman at the supermercado ask me for it twice. I know what it's like when they ask you for it. Again, I had no clue what she was asking me. He finally jumped in because she was saying the words.
She literally said tarjeta caliente. Yeah. And he's like, what? She said it, and I'm saying it very slow because I don't speak Spanish fast enough. But she said it very clearly to me, but it was very, very fast, and his brain was not catching it at all.
I know tarjeta caliente. I don't know tarjeta caliente. So that'll come with time.
Yeah.
So here's the big thing. So the reason why we wanted to cover our butts. Yes, you should learn Spanish when you're here, and you should learn as much as you can get here. But you're not going to know it. You're not going to know it at least nearly as well.
Oh, you're talking about before you get here.
Yes, before you
learn as much as you can before,
yes.
But once you get here,
don't freak out.
Immerse.
You're not going to know it as well as you want to. No matter what you do, you're not going to know it as well as you want to. So don't think you have to speak it fluently when you get here. And that's what the whole point of this is do the best you can. When you get here, you're going to fumble through things. You're going to ask for rice, and they won't know what the hell you're talking about.
There's a caveat.
Yes.
Again, I want to make sure people understand. We are talking about our experience in this area. It may be completely different in other areas of the country where they are not as patient, and you may run into that. From what I understand, and from what our research, the patience is very good throughout the country for somebody who is trying.
The other things that are can be difficult to get used to. They weren't that difficult for us as getting used to the slower pace of life here. There's been some of a challenge. And it's a big challenge for some people, and I think it's worthy of its own episode.
I think we can dive into that a lot more at different times.
That's a big deal. So we're going to talk about the slower pace of life, what it's been like for us, and in what areas that we experienced it.
Yeah.
But I think most of what we covered today is what we wanted to cover.
Bye.